Now, this is one of those things where people might go, so what? But it's one of those things where we've seen some recent documents in some big and high places come through that's all centered around a one world file share system. And it's interesting that around the same time, DARPA is wanting to build this if they haven't already built it yet. So it says DARPA is looking to build a one world file system to allow the transfer, the data transfer between governments on this one system. This comes after, of course, the Pact for the Future and the Global Digital Compact Annex that's a part of it. That has a lot to do with the digitalization of data collection, sharing, and all the different programs that go along with it. Sharing is part of that. How do we do cross-border transfers of these shares? But also along with it, the UN Cybercrime Treaty was one of the main components of allowing cross-border full surveillance and data sharing programs. So coming with it is all about, we have all this data, all this personal data on people. And I've got this data on this person in my country. How can I get this data about this person over to the other people in the other country? You know how we're always, going in the different countries and moving around and stuff like that? Well, they need to be able to transfer the data on people as they enter into that country as well, because they're always watching you there as well. Again, always feels like somebody's watching you, right? And so with those policies, those agendas, those documents, whatever you want to call them, with the emphasis on being not only the collecting, but the sharing, cross-border sharing of our personal information, they got to have a system that can do it. Well, it seems DARPA is wanting to do that. So if you take a look, this goes out on sam.gov. This is where a lot of these organizations put their contracts out for people to see. It says DARPA International Government File Sharing Program is now active. And it says the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, or DARPA, seeks information for IT services to develop and maintain a single file sharing platform to facilitate file sharing, software developments, data manipulation, and real-time collaboration at the controlled unclassified information level for DARPA and international allied nation government partners for a project-specific effort for up to 5 years. And so this is an entire data sharing program for DARPA and anybody that they're allied with, which is pretty much everybody. There's no, oh, well, this excludes Russia and Iran and China and all these. No. They all work together. And so it's about sharing data with each other on that too. This is to facilitate market research. The government is looking to identify qualified sources, both small businesses and other than small businesses, in order to do it. So they're going all over the place to find anybody who will help them create this file sharing program. So it's interesting that this contract is coming out so close after the Cybercrime Treaty and the Pact for the Future Global Compact Annex as well. So very interesting that that's coming along. And so you have these glasses and this technology that's able to just take somebody's picture, feed it through AI, and then give you everybody's entire life story on your phone within seconds. You have language translation. You've got cross-border file transfer from DARPA, but this is nothing new for DARPA, because if we keep going, we know that they are one of the main people when it comes to dystopian developments. They're huge on anything that has to do with invasive, privacy-wrecking systems that can just have full access to anybody's life. And so anybody, show of hands, how many people remember a program called LifeLog? Anybody remember LifeLog? It was early 2000s. You may not know the name, but you know what it turned into. So if we go back to 2003, LifeLog is part of DARPA's research in cognitive computing. The research is fundamentally focused on developing revolutionary capabilities that would allow people to interact with computers in much more natural and easy ways that exist today. This new generation of cognitive computers will understand their users and help them manage their affairs more effectively. The research is designed to extend the model of a personal digital assistant, or PDA, to one that might eventually become a personal digital partner. LifeLog is a program that steps towards that goal. The LifeLog program addresses a targeted and very difficult problem: how individuals individuals might capture and analyze their own experiences, preferences, and goals. So how do people capture their life and store it and save it? The LifeLog capability would provide an electronic diary to help the individuals more accurately, I can speak, recall and use his or her past experiences to be more effective in current or future tasks. The goal of the LifeLog is to turn the notebook computers or personal digital assistants to use today into much more powerful tools. And they say for the war fighter, but something that we know about DARPA is they're always developing technology for the military, but then sending it down for us to use as well. To build a cognitive computing system, a user must store, retrieve, and understand data about his or her past experiences. This entails collecting diverse data, understanding how to describe the data, learning which data and what relationships among them are important, and extracting useful information. The research will determine the types of data to collect and when to collect it. The goal of the data collection is to see what I see rather than to see me. Users are in complete control of their own data collection efforts, decide when to turn the sensors on or off, and decide who will share the data. Well, if anybody, if that sounds familiar, that's because it sounds like many of the social media programs and websites and stuff that we have today, which were all designed off of LifeLog, including one like Facebook. LifeLog, as was DARPA's post 9/11 surveillance program that launched in 2003, and it was connected to their Total Information Awareness program, or the TIA program. And so this was part of the whole thing with 9/11 about total surveillance and being able to have Big Brother Bill and access to everybody's lives that they want to, all in the name of national security, which is a giant lie. This was part of the total surveillance data collecting system that was designed before 9/11. This stuff was designed before 9/11, but didn't launch until after, because they needed something big to launch it. And so this is where we get into the territory of, yes, 9/11 was indeed a false flag event. I'm not going to get into all the details of it. The moment you say false flag, people say, so you mean people didn't die? Yes, people absolutely did. But again, the government kills their own people all the time to get their stuff going through all the time. But they needed to plan something big in order to get this through. That's why the Patriot Act was written before 9/11. This whole system, the TIA system, was designed before 9/11. And all this stuff was ready to go. So once 9/11 hit, it was already there and ready to go, just like the war on terror as well. Everything was planned, and they just needed an event to trigger it all to happen. And so the TIA program was designed before that. Then LifeLog came about in 2003. And so it was built to be a database of tracking someone's entire life. But you can only get so much through forceful surveillance. So forced surveillance only goes so far. If you can manipulate people to voluntarily give up their personal data for fun, it's a lot easier. You know the old saying, if you can catch more bees with honey than something else, I can't remember the whole thing. You can catch more flies with honey than whatever. I can't remember the other thing, but basically they can do all the forceful, surveillance that they want. But the trick is, how do you manipulate society in order to personally give up private information that only they can voluntarily give up? Well, you create a program like these things, and you do social media where it's always pictures of who, what, when, where, how, why, all your associations, even your types of food that you eat, and the books that you read, and your dog, and what shirt you're wearing, and what color shirt you're wearing that day, and all these things. Everybody voluntarily gives up this information that allows AI to go in and use it for these databases so they can know more about us than we know about ourselves. But the problem is they received too much backlash for it being too invasive on people's privacy. So LifeLog was shut down February 4th, 2004. Facebook launched February 4th, 2004. Isn't that mighty convenient that the same type of system would launch the same day that LifeLog went down? See, the thing is, and the trick that they still pull to this day is they don't actually stop or shut down programs. They just change names and send it on through, and people are none the wiser. They've changed ESG, I don't know how many times in the past 3 years. I've lost count. I try and keep track, but I've lost count. It's not ESG anymore. They've changed it so many times. And that's why we continue to see reports. ESG is dead. ESG is dying. ESG isn't working. This company's giving up ESG. They're really not. It's just changed names. Still the same program is in action, though. So they did the same thing with this. LifeLog is a DARPA created program based upon total surveillance that had to happen with 9/11. And then it became Facebook. Pretty interesting how that works. But this is, again, just a good reminder. I know a lot of people know about that, but it's just a good reminder of they're always using these types of programs in order to manipulate people's minds, to get around laws, to change the names of them so people can't keep track of what is what and where's what going and who's doing what and everything. And so it causes confusion and manipulation while they continue to push these things forward. So it doesn't end. It just continues to shift, continues to change. And it's this information gathering that allows the AI algorithms to absolutely run wild. It allows them to run wild and be able to predict our movements and our daily lives. Again, I talked about the digital twin simulation programs that they're constantly running. Again, they're constantly running these things because they can base a social profile built upon all of the stuff that they know about us. Every little detail about our lives, they know about us. So all that personal data allows the AI access to learn and predict our movements, thoughts, reactions, etc., and based it all upon our beliefs, our likes, dislikes, preferences, and past history, and all that type of stuff. And so that's why AI is able to do what it does today, because there's so much digital information out there, and we continue to put more onto the digital sphere, which allows AI more access to it.